Hey everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I'm doing another video today. And this is Cuomo lied, people died. So, unfortunately, at the beginning of the virus crisis, we had these grandstanding political figures like Andrew Cuomo, you know, attempt to take leadership of the crisis. Now, the thing is, the whole thing with Cuomo is very parallel to Rudolph Giuliani back in the days of 9/11. And as we know, Giuliani was no saint, himself, as we know now, of course. Um, and there's a lot of there's a lot of conspiracy talk about Giuliani with regards to 9/11. There's been over the years. It's kind of funny seeing people like Alex Jones pivot to becoming such Trump supporters when they, when with Giuliani at the helm of his legal team, when or Trump's legal team, when back in the day, you would do videos about Giuliani knew this and all this and stuff. So it kind of there's a lot of parallels. So like this hero worship, like, oh my God, Giuliani was such a hero against 9/11. He just coordinated everything with the fire department, and he's a national hero, and he actually ran for president because of that. So I see a lot of parallels with what's going on with Cuomo. Unfortunately, there has been, well, or fortunately, whichever side of that you debate you fall on, there's been a lot of questioning of his handling of the crisis, even from the left and mainstream Democrats to some extent, because he did hide some of the numbers, and he admitted to doing some of these things as far as a recent press conference, as far as how things were not transparent as they should have been, sending people back to nursing homes and all this. And in the description, I'm going to put a editorial from someone that was in Newsweek. It's going to be an archive one because I did get it from a YouTuber that uses an archive site, but it's better anyways. I don't want to give them the mainstream press money anyways. So what do I think about all this? Well, I've been saying this for months, that these people are not what they seem. These people pushing these mandates, people pushing these things, especially when it comes to the mainstream media and so forth. I think with regards to Cuomo, what the really sickening thing about some of these recent press conferences are, as far as him responding to these allegations, is that he basically downplayed deaths. And people that are skeptical of the virus response from, like, anti-lockdown people or anti-mask people, they're some of their responses are like, well, people die anyways. There's always a number of people that died. There's always a number of people that die every year from the flu, blah 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 blah. So the other side calls them, death to doubters and deniers and downplayers. But in this recent press conference, we have Andy Cuomo basically doing the same thing. He's like, well, people died. People die in nursing homes. And it's like these coronatarians that worshipped Andrew Cuomo, over this crisis, just, they need to fucking, take a look at these press conferences that he's doing. Now, I have given praise myself to Cuomo in the past, and I'll tell you why I did. Early on, there are a lot of people that were just basically like a monolith as far as a lot of the science and stuff goes. And Cuomo was one of the only people that said that actually was a little more humble and is like, well, we don't know this, we don't know that, we learned this, we learned that. Some of the politicians and some of the leaders, even Fauci, were not, in this realm of like being able to like be open about different ideas and stuff. And of course, that's all for show, with regards to what happens on the ground. Just like with Cuomo and the police, he's like, they're not gonna police my what did he say? Um, he was calling the police authoritarians because they weren't going to enforce his authoritarian will on the people with regards to gatherings. It's like, what? What kind of cognitive dissonance and Orwellian bullshit is that? So, no, not Mario, that's his brother. Andrew Cuomo lied, and people died. That's the fact. Bush lied, and people died too. That was the chant in the protests. Now half those people that were protesting probably just love his pictures of dogs and him posing with Michelle Obama, and they can fuck right off. Anybody that apologizes for George W. Bush can fuck right off, man. You're a fucking idiot. Oh, they can fuck right off. Oh, I just disagree. We should not censor people. I just disagree. No cancel culture. No, yeah. Well, I could tell them to fuck right off, right? They're stupid. Anybody that apologizes for Bush. That's my opinion. But Cuomo, yeah, Cuomo got caught. He's, I saw this Hollywood, these Hollywood testimonials for him for winning and congratulating him for winning an Emmy. And what really sickened me is Spike Lee was in there. Because Spike Lee, I really liked the movie Black Klansman. I thought that was great. One of the best movies of the last 5 years as far as all that stuff goes. And as far as like racial politics messaging, I liked it better than Get Out, like 10 times more. I thought it was more of an interesting movie and had a lot more to say than Get Out even, which I thought was a little overrated. I do like Key and Peele or whatever, but it's just one of those things that really disappointed me. And I know Spike Lee has been very controversial in the past, but him congratulating Cuomo was just kind of sickening. It was kind of sad to see that. I'm sure a lot of the left, would see their favorite actor, liking Trump, and they get disappointed. And I'm just used to people being, at this point, I'm used to people being of political opinions that I disagree with in the media or whatever, or musicians or whatever. It's just every day. Once I learned, it's gonna sound weird, but once I learned. It was weird when I learned that Ross the Boss was a huge Republican guy. I was like, but like at this point, I don't know. I'm just like, yeah, that's his opinion. He believes what he believes, and he has a linear path to believing that stuff, and it's not a big of deal as I used to think. I used to be like, and I'm friends with him on Facebook, and I used to argue with him about politics sometimes, and it got really weird ones. One of the funniest things that ever happened, most surreal things that ever happened in my life, was when my father chimed into a Facebook post that Ross the Boss and I were arguing on. But at this point, in a certain way, as I've said in previous videos, some of the Trump people are seeming more reasonable nowadays than a lot of the more mainstream Democrats, and I'll stand up for that. I'm saying some of them, That's why some if I ignore the Trump part of it, a lot of them are making sense, If I ignore their these little things, these little kernels of bullshit, in my opinion, they are making a lot of sense, and they're kind of more aligned with my side, the populist, left side of things. Probably turning into anarchists at this point, though. But anyways, what was this video about? It was about Andrew Cuomo. Well, like I said in my previous videos, these Democrats are just fucking hypocrites, and they're just, they're pushing these agendas that just don't make sense. It's a disappointing time for me because I actually contributed to some of these people's campaigns, not Cuomo, but like AOC and I think I contributed, but people might like this, that I did contribute to Tulsi Gabbard. So some people might hate that, some people might like it, and Bernie. I almost did Elizabeth Warren, but I realized she was like more of a you know, more of an establishment like uh, tool for to get Bernie Sanders in a certain way. I don't know if she was aware of that. I'm not saying she would like consciously thought that, but it's like a lot of people I think in the Democratic Party pushed her because she was like the alternative to Bernie Sanders that would still be at the establishment, you know. So yeah, so I think it's a very disappointing time. Now, hopefully, people will return to sanity through time, you know, but I don't think they will. Very corrupt system. It really exposed 2020 really exposed things to me as far as how bad and how deep the rot goes, you know, with politicians. And I'm not, you know, I'm not excluding Republicans from that. Like DeSantis did hide some numbers about, you know, the virus and stuff, as but did Cuomo did too. Nobody, but you know, people aren't calling for Cuomo's head as much as DeSantis. But I think that'll change. Hopefully, it looks like people are waking up to Cuomo's corruption. Um, but yeah, it does remind me of Giuliani after 9/11. Boo, whoa, you know, this like, woohoo, we have this guy. He's such a hero. Let's give him an Emmy, a Nobel Prize. And it turns out he was a fucking crook and a douchebag and a very inept leader, you know, just like Giuliani. Um, but yeah, I just hate after these, you know, these. And he wrote a book, you know, and he won an Emmy. You know, I'm talking about Cuomo won an Emmy for his coronavirus coverage. You know, so it's really stupid. The time we're living in is so ridiculous. Some of this stuff is just it's so laughable. It's so ridiculous that it deserves scorn in comedy. You know. And by the way, speaking of that, probably today or tomorrow I will be posting a link to my uh, some of my T-shirt designs. Hopefully, if I get it all right. Some of them are really provocative, so keep an eye out for that. But that's about all.